All right, so let's get this started. First, a little housekeeping. Thanks everyone for taking the time to do this. DMLA has gone through a lot of change in the last year, and so that's what this webinar is primarily about. The panelists are the members of the 2026-2028 Board of Directors. Raise your hand or post questions in the chat. And if you raise your hand, we'll allow your sound to come back on, but we would like you to introduce yourself, your name and your company. And I think it'd be great to hear what your location is as well. And DMLA members and registrants will get video access and a link to this. This will likely also be posted in full on our YouTube channel. Unless there's a problem with the video, it's the kind of video that we do like to post where people can learn about the organization. So now let's introduce the panelists. My name is Leslie Hughes, and I'm the moderator today. I'm a step-in moderator because Joe Naylor, who had planned to moderate, is in a conference in Las Vegas. So he didn't realize the conflict, and so made a last-minute change. But we'll hear from him in a minute in a virtual way. I am the immediate past president of DMLA. I'm a board member and I am the executive director of the organization, so wearing multiple hats. Deshawn, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Deshaun. I am Chief Relationship Officer, co-founder of POCSOC. I'm the chair of the membership committee. This is year two in that role, I think. Time is weird these days. Um, and POCSOC has been a member of DMLA. I think this is year four, and it is that was one of the greatest decisions we made as a company. Really helpful, just getting ingratiated into this community, building business intelligence. But I think just with all things, just meeting a bunch of amazing people from around the world. Happy to be here.
That's great. Well, we are very happy to have Deshawn as our membership chair. He's done a great job. Chris Daniels, I don't think Chris is on. Chris, are you on? Okay. And Steve Jones, Candace Murray, you're up.
I am here. Hello. And I apologize, I don't have the fancy background. My computer out here on Long Island does not like it. I am Candace Murray. I'm the SVP of Global Revenue at Alamy. Been in the content licensing space since 1998 at a number of different organizations doing a number of different things in the content space. I am back on the board for the DMLA after a year and a half away from the board. Really, really excited and happy to work with this group again, and to represent Alamy for the DMLA going forward.
And we are very excited to have Candace back. She is not only extremely knowledgeable about the industry, but she's a great partner. All right, so Sarah LeFay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sarah LeFay. I'm the education chair, previously the marketing chair at DMLA, and I run sales and marketing for MediaViz AI, where we're on the technology side of things. So we're the data layer for any image intelligence project, powering everything from search to curation.
Fantastic. Nancy Wolf.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. And it's great to see so many people who have joined. I've been counsel to DMLA for quite some time. I might say this is the fourth variation of the name I have seen with different logos. So it's been a wonderful organization to grow with, and it keeps evolving and continuing to sort of see how technology and licensing works together. And I have also in addition to being the legal advisor and part of the legal committee, which has been really great the last number of years because we have a great team and a great committee of various members, which I know Margaret will talk a little bit more about. But, my role is primarily like doing advocacy for the group, keeping up with cases, legal forms, and just, keeping my ear and eye out for everyone.
Nancy is a great representative for the industry and for DMLA. We are very lucky to have her. And for those of you who are members and haven't been on the member area of the site, the documents is a really valuable section. And the legal webinars are some of the most viewed and most favorite. So on that note, I'm going to go to Margaret next.
The only place where legal is cool. No.
It is cool.
So I'm Margaret Vincent. I am the chair of the legal committee, as we've been discussing. I'm also the VP of legal and advocacy at Stocksy United Co-op, and have been involved with DMLA for many, many years now. And yeah, so I lead the legal committee. I get to work with Nancy and everybody else, and it's really spectacular. We'll get into more later.
We're glad to have you. And Mark is probably one of my more aligned partners in crime. I think Mark, you and I've worked on the conference and technology stuff for many, many years now. So Mark, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Mark Milstein. I am the technology chairman of DMLA and more recently have become its secretary. So I'm the recording secretary, which gives me incredible powers that I have yet to actually start to leverage. But believe me, once I do, please stand
You
back.
can craft those stories.
Yeah, believe me, there'll be war stories to be told. I'm a almost 30-year veteran of the licensing space and have been associated with and involved with DMLA, well before it was DMLA, when it was actually PACA, back in the early 2000s. And I am a proud member, and I really have enjoyed myself. And I think that the people that we have currently on the board who are present at this webinar are just incredible and perhaps the best that I've ever seen participate with this organization. So we are really lucky.
Well, thank you, Mark. Next up, Jonathan Wells, another partner in crime.
Let's see. Hi, everyone. As Leslie said, my name is Jonathan Wells. I guess I'm a partner in crime at times. I've been on the board a few years. This is my second term as treasurer of this great organization. I am the president of SEPA USA, a editorial photo agency based in New York, and we have been a member for quite a while at the DLMA, and I've attended many conferences, including back when it was PACA, and I think Key West, maybe, Las Vegas. And I've been in the editorial business for a long time. I would say around Candace's time, but a few more years. And so I bring, I think when I was involved a lot in the conferences, more of the editorial wing of our association. Welcome, everyone.
And thanks, Jonathan. And certainly, last but certainly not least, Alex, you're on mute.
Yes, not anymore. Hi, I'm Alex Juboy. I'm the new guy, the new partner in crime, hopefully, but not that time. I come from Europe. I run the European Alliance of News Agencies. I've been doing it for the past 8 years and something. And I'm really excited because for me, this is an opportunity to, let's say, connect a bit worldwide and try to find some synergies. And, I'm sure we all have challenges and also a lot of opportunities in these days. But I think the best way to find a solution to everything is together. And no matter if you're from the US or from Asia, I think it's this type of networking and cooperation is the best way to do it. So thank you for having me. It's a great honor, really. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Alex. And I think your last comment is really apropos. People sometimes will ask me when I'm talking to them about DMLA or membership, but isn't everyone a competitor? And yes, in a lot of cases there are competitors, but I think we are stronger together in trying to figure out the best practices and the standards, which really is the purpose in great part of DMLA. All right, so let's go on. So the primary purpose of this webinar is that we're really talking about our rebranding, but our rebranding is really about a reimagining of the strategy. And Nancy mentioned the many names. We've now added a history section on the website under the About. If you're curious about the history, DMLA is 75 years old this year. And I think that's an amazing accomplishment. If you think that it is, I'm pretty sure older than everybody on this call, it's survived, if you will, many challenging times, a lot of technological change. I mean, if you think back to 1951, when the organization started, it was a very different world. So let's get started and we'll talk about kind of what's going on and why. So we are celebrating 75 years of industry leadership. We think we're the longest and the oldest industry of our kind in the visual content space and now the digital media space. And why are we here today? Because everything is changing again. And you're going to hear from Joe Naylor in a video in a minute, and he'll talk a little bit more about this. But I think this change is truly transformational and not using that word lightly. So AI is changing our business. Copyright is under tremendous pressure. Search and discoverability is really a huge issue for our industry where we've relied on traditional search for so long to be found. New players and relationships are emerging. I think, as you can see from this board of directors, we have people in the AI space, we have people in editorial, we've got legal, we've got commercial. And that's the point, is that this industry is no longer about stock photography. So DMLA is changing. We're evolving from licensing to leadership. And what that means is we're not abandoned. Licensing is at our core, but we are evolving, trying to reflect the broader and full spectrum of this industry. And our priorities and opportunities have changed. Licensing doesn't mean what it did even 10 years ago. We also today want to hear feedback, or at least get input from you all, and build and encourage new membership and new relationships. So today's agenda, we'll try and go through the deck part pretty quickly, but we want you to, as I said, raise your hand or put your questions in chat. I'll try and monitor those as we go, and others on the panel can monitor those as well. But we're going to talk about why we rebranded, membership and community growth, our strategic pillars, the technology and AI initiatives that have become so paramount. We're going to look ahead a little bit and talk a little bit about DMLA at 75. So very quickly, what we've accomplished since 2024, we've successfully rebranded the organization, the Digital Media Leadership Alliance. We've expanded our membership structure to reflect the broader industry that we're now representing. We've launched an AI and copyright working group. It's been on a little bit of a hiatus for a couple of months, but we have some pretty significant issues, so we're calling it back together. We've launched an SEO and AI search working group, which is weirdly one of my favorite calls. It's really an interesting, we had one yesterday, and it's kind of fascinating what's happening and the complications around it. We've expanded the webinar and educational programming pretty extensively. We're having effectively a webinar a month, in addition to the other programming that we have. We've strengthened advocacy and engagement on AI and copyright. We've increased collaboration with our industry partners, Copyright Alliance, IPTC I think we've been a partner a little bit longer, but we did a new partnership agreement last year. We're hoping to expand that. And our partnership with Google has been strong and is continuing to be strong. Planning DMLA's 75th anniversary. We want to have a party and celebrate the 75th anniversary, but unfortunately in today's world, we also need to do a little work. So we're going to do the 4th annual AI and Leadership Summit. These have been small, invitation-only summits in the past. This year, we're going to open it up to members and to non-members, but the space is limited and registration will be effectively in July. So watch for information if you're interested in that. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we go on. And we're reimagining our International Digital Media Licensing Conference. We've pushed it to April of 2027. All right, so let's hear from Joe, who is the current board president of DMLA.
Hi, I'm Joe Naylor. I'm president of DMLA. I'm here to talk about some exciting changes going on within our organization that simply reflect the changes that are going on in our industry overall. I look back to when I first joined DMLA. It was called PAC at the time, Picture Archive Council of America. And there was a lot of change going on then too. Different business models, different distribution models, different pricing and licensing models, all essentially spawned from the advent of the internet as the industry went digital. And when I first attended that PAC event in 2009, I was new to the space. I didn't know a soul. I went to that conference in Chicago. I didn't know one person, zero. But I walked into the room and was greeted by Maria Kessler, who was president at the time, and Kathy Aaron, who was the executive director. They were unbelievably welcoming and immediately made me feel like I was in the right place. And over the next couple of days, I was mostly observing. And what I'd say probably the most important thing that I observed was the fact that you had all these people together, same industry, same opportunities, same challenges they were tackling, maybe different variations depending on what they were doing specifically. But it was clear they all kind of had their backs. There were some really strong bonds amongst the members of this organization. And that really kind of hit home with me. And moving forward over those subsequent years, PACA changed and our organization rebranded, renamed itself to Digital Media Licensing Association, just obviously to reflect the fact that the whole industry had gone digital. It was all on the internet at that point. But it's just an indication of the organization and the people behind it, their ability to recognize change and understanding that you can't just stick in a time warp and hope everything's okay. You got to actually take action on behalf of the membership and on behalf of the members of your industry, frankly. And after the organization changed to DMLA, shortly thereafter, I was asked by Kathy Aaron to chair the technology committee. And frankly, I said no initially. I had my own company to run, a lot going on. I just figured I wouldn't have the time to really put into it to be much value. But after a little bit of arm twisting, I finally came around and I said yes. And I'm glad I did. It was an incredible opportunity to really get to know some of the people in the organization, especially those kind of the board members and other committee chairs and those who are most active in the org. And I went on to hold a number of different roles, chair of noms and elections, treasurer, and ultimately it culminated in me taking on the role of president in 2023. And again, we went through periods of incredible change and adversity and all these different technologies that were coming out of the blue, so to speak, and then trying to navigate, is this really going to impact us, or is it just a bunch of hype? We had blockchain in 2016, 17, NFTs came along. Was that going to change the whole distribution model once again? And a lot of our events centered around talking through these issues and really getting experts in, whether they were from within the industry and within our membership or from without or from outside of it. And, people navigated pretty well, I thought. Then COVID hit and all sorts of crazy stuff happened, and we switched to doing virtual conferences. And I thought that actually the silver lining there was there was a real uptick in the caliber of the speakers. that we brought in for those conferences, obviously because people didn't have to travel and they were looking for stuff to do. So we kind of benefited from that. And the reputation for the content and education and the substance of our conference, it really took off at that point. And then comes along AI, in 2023. And there was kind of the shock and awe at the beginning. People had no idea how this was going to impact them. Were entire stock agencies just going to go under in a year? Nobody really knew. But we had really good people at DMLA. We had a lot of expertise. We had companies that had come into the fold around that time who were kind of leading the frontier as far as ethical licensing models and, out there just building models themselves, kind of how do you leverage the technology to expand our services and benefit our clients. We had a huge amount of advocacy on our part through our legal committee and our partnership with groups like Copyright Society, where we were responding to federal RFIs and whatnot, seeking input from stakeholders regarding AI action plans for the federal administration or copyright and AI in general. And it became clear that things were fundamentally changing once again, on par with what happened with the advent of the internet and everything going digital. And so we looked around and an interesting thing was happening. We were getting queries from companies interested in joining DMLA that weren't typical of who we had as members, going back. And, we took a look and said, look, things are changing. This isn't just about how do you license a photo online and how do you structure the license and the terms and, how much should it cost? It's so much more than that now. It's so much more than just a distribution model. It's how you run a business with all the new technologies that's available to you. AI is not just about generating images. It's the tools that you can use to make your company more efficient, more productive, an opportunity to create new product, new content, to reach new markets in different ways. And so we looked and said, we need to change too. And so in our 75th year as an organization, it seemed kind of appropriate that this was a good opportunity to make that change. And here we have the rollout of DMLA. So we're leveraging the brand equity that we built over the years. But we're going from Digital Media Licensing Association to Digital Media Leadership Alliance. And it's pretty straightforward why. Again, we're not just licensing. We are leaders across an entire industry and bringing all of these companies and experts and great minds together to tackle challenges, to take on new opportunities, new partnership opportunities, new business product distribution opportunities. It really is an exciting time, like I said at the beginning. And so with that, I want to welcome all of you to the new DMLA. And I look forward to growing this organization, bringing in new people, new companies, really diversifying the mix, so to speak. The past couple of conferences have been fascinating. We want to leverage that. Our AI Summit has been super cool because of the people who've attended, again, from inside our membership and outside. And we want to bring more of those people in and make them part of our team and organization and have them contribute on a more regular basis and get value back from us. So I look forward to the years ahead and how this all plays out. I'm sure many of you are as well. And I just say happy 75th to PACA and DMLA. And thank you.
So Joe sends his regrets. He really was disappointed when he realized he had this conflict, and so he took the time to put those comments together, which I thought personally were very heartfelt and very reflective of where the organization has come from and where it is today. So no surprise, we all know the industry is changing. AI is reshaping creation, discovery, and licensing. Search behavior is evolving rapidly, and I'm not sure everyone in our ecosystem is really understanding the impact of the changes, in particular in search and discoverability. And I think that's going to be a big topic for us. Copyright questions remain unresolved, particularly in the United States. I mean, Europe seems to be making progress and taking steps, and I'm hopeful that that will start happening. I'm now that I'm editorializing, which I shouldn't do, but it's copyright's a huge issue, and I think and a very important one for this. And frankly, our legal committee is probably one of the best groups to really advocate and bring a voice to the issue from the industry perspective. Metadata and provenance are increasingly important. Many of you, I think, are using AI internally for metadata. I think the provenance issue is going to be increasingly important. Already is. Content technology and business models are converging. And there's this notion of human consent that I've seen recently that has really resonated with me. We've been talking about human created content and trying to address those issues. And we're also recognizing this is not, us against AI. This is us with AI. And we have to collaborate with AI companies and platforms that may be working in different ways and find the path forward. So why we rebranded? As Joe said, this is much bigger than licensing. I would like to add that it's our focus as the Digital Media Licensing Association was very inward. It was about us as a licensing industry. The idea of switching to leadership and to a leadership alliance is to turn it outward. We need to be connected with what's happening in the world. We need to be impacting what's happening in the world. So the industry has evolved, our membership has expanded, our mission has broadened, and our leadership has grown. We really do believe it's an evolution and not a reinvention. Our roots are strong. Our core membership, our licensing, distribution, content production, data, technology, and that remains true. But now we're giving voice to many companies who were affiliate members. We didn't give them really a voting voice, and they wanted to be a part of DMLA, so we found a way for them to be a part of DMLA, but now we believe they're part of the industry, and DMLA has to reflect that entire ecosystem. So today the conversation includes copyright, AI, metadata, discoverability, technology, content provenance and authenticity, business transformation, and those are really just to name a few. So it's the same foundation with a broader impact. All right, so Deshawn is our membership chair. Deshawn, do you want to hop in and talk about our expanding membership?
Sure. And I think for the association to obviously evolve and expand, then we need to distill that down to the membership, the organizations, and the people. So we had many conversations on what does that look like? Because I think there's one view of this association, which is I think the previous slide, what Leslie covered, which is the what. But what we see with active engaged members is when they could see themselves within the association and other members, and how I think Alex said it wonderfully earlier, the ability to connect with sharp, bright minds from all over the world to both solve challenges that you may be faced on a day-to-day basis while also getting intelligence as to what's coming, what do I not see. So really looking at a framework to see how can we continue to be strategic as business leaders, business founders, business operators? How can we actively engage in these conversations about what's happening now, what's coming, what's next, which is happening so more rapidly than ever before? How can we continue to educate ourselves and our people and our stakeholders? I know specifically for POCSOC, we use DMLA as a way to educate our advisory board, our board of directors, our potential investors. So there's a lot of credibility there with this cohort being able to do those things. And so with that in mind, um, how do we activate the current membership? Because you're only as strong as your current members, but you're also as strong as having a good pipeline of new members. So evolving with the times and expanding who we are and what we aspire to be was really important. So one was just a structural categorical reclassification of what the membership looks like. So we understand where we fit, but also new members could understand how our organizations fit within the association. We looked at companies which are leaders, more enterprise, multi-sector, multi-service, who have a wide range of influence over a number of industries. Um, Really excited about both the current innovator membership level, but also the potential of that category where there's so many amazing companies building amazing technologies and data sets and perspectives on metadata. Um, for me, when I'm talking to people, this is probably the cohort that I meet the most, and I think is our biggest opportunity with people who are building new technologies, who want to be a part of a new community, and actually at some point do aspire to be enterprise level leadership organizations, and they need some place for community to grow, to share, and to build. Mission driven organizations, we've had some amazing conversations the last couple of years. I know Leslie, the University of Toronto Metropolitan, who were amazed at this cohort and some of the things that we were both talking about from a day-to-day perspective that really aligned with their curriculum and education. So they're seeing it from the perspective of we're trying to raise humans for the future, and how can we align with associations and organizations who are doing that. So just really being mindful of mission-driven organizations who do have a mission to make the world and their communities a better place, leveraging the power and impact of the folks on this call and hopefully the DMLA members of the future to be able to do that. And the pros, I think, is another category which I engage with often. I'm at many conferences which are not historically related to licensing, but everywhere I go, I mention POCSOC is a part of DMLA and I'm the membership chair, and people want to know more. And just within 3 minutes, they're starting to think, well, how can I be a part of that? Because I don't have a licensing background. I'm not sure if licensing is a part of my business, but I'm involved in data. I'm involved in AI. I'm building technology, and I want to learn more and I want to grow, but I also want to contribute. So I think widening that lens to subject matter experts, content creators, data specialists, technologists, I think it's a great fit. While they're I had this conversation with Google about the ability to have enterprise prestige and experience and resources with the true innovators. Like there's someone somewhere that we will meet within the next 6 months who joins DMLA who's going to build and develop the next great thing. So for all of us to have the access to enterprise level resources and know-how, but also the people who are day to day researching and testing the latest data and technologies of the day, I think it's probably the biggest opportunity this evolution of DMLA and the membership structure is going to have and be able to capitalize on.
Thank you, Deshaun. Again, if anybody has questions, they can put it in chat or raise their hand. But I have to say, I'm probably one of the most excited about the changes in our membership structure because I've talked to so many companies for a long time that have been interested but didn't feel like it quite fit. And now I think Deshaun might kill me, but we just voted in a new member, Wirestock, which is AI and data licensing. That hadn't been announced yet, but they're official. And I think it's a reflection. We've known Mikhail for a long time, and he's participated. And so I think that's a great example of how this new structure can align to different kinds of companies in a new way. All right, so now I have to get back over. All right, so again, we'd like your feedback. So one of the questions we wanted to throw out, and again, you can put your comments in chat, but what expertise or perspectives would you like to see represented within DMLA? Creators, technology leaders, AI innovators, legal experts, platforms, enterprise content teams. There's all different kinds um, of of perspectives that align around content, really. And that's what we're talking about, digital media. We decided to keep the name digital media because we thought it reflected the industry that we represent, which is really about the digital media assets. Our strategic framework, it really hasn't changed. We have 3 pillars that drive DMLA: advocacy, representing our members' interests; education, providing practical industry knowledge; and connectivity, building relationships and opportunities. In terms of advocacy, I'm going to introduce Nancy and/or Margaret. If you guys want to talk about the advocacy efforts and what you all are up to these days on behalf of the industry.
For sure. I'm going to do a little legal committee spiel and then I will hand off to Nancy. So yeah, I just wanted to spend a second talking a little bit more about the legal committee and what we do at DMLA, because it's a really great and cool thing. I think I joined the legal committee early on in my tenure in the industry, and I've learned so much, and I learn every time I talk to these folks. So we have a group of legal experts from across the industry, as we had talked about a little bit earlier, competitors working together. So we have lawyers and legal experts from Shutterstock, PA Media Group, which is also Alamy, Getty, Stocksy. We all look to Nancy all the time for all of her expertise. But we do a lot of education, webinars, panels at the conference, and then just staying up to date on all of the things changing. I was going to speak to the changing landscape of AI and copyright, but that seems to be the general theme for the whole talk today. So more than ever, it's really important that we keep an eye on this changing landscape because of all of the pieces in play and all of the things that could be changing right now. And I really love that we work at both like a high level strategic element and as well as the very practical, like what do you need on a release and how can we help you make that easier sort of thing. So I really love that. And the advocacy work is just super cool. Nancy, go for it.
Well, thanks, Margaret. I know it's the great thing about having a full legal committee is that we have members from not just the US. So we get the perspectives of what's going on in the EU or the UK, and that's really great and helpful, as well as having the insights from the in-house legal team of many of the members. It's such a good perspective because you see what happens and what people care about on a day-to-day basis. So advocacy that we engage in is on a few different areas because image or content licensing and what many do impacts copyright. There's always trademark issues, as well as what we know today that's very active is right of privacy, right of publicity, but especially because of digital replicas. And this is an area that's always been state by state in the past. In the last year, there's been a real push to try to have a federal bill that would regulate digital replicas of identifying people. And the most important thing from our industry is that we can work as we do. Over the years, we've had a lot of states that sort of forget that the licensing industry is in the middle between content creation and publication, whether it's online or in analog, and that licensing activity should not be considered commercial. So I have run to more states than I care to think about to try to explain how this industry works and why what we do should not be considered a commercial act where we would have liability under state right of privacy publicity laws. So I've been doing the same thing with the proposed federal bill. A lot of what we also do is respond to questions from the Copyright Office. The Copyright Office often will put out what they call is requests for not thinking of the word right now, but they want information about whether there should be a copyright small claims court. They've had a huge report on AI. They've asked many questions about how the industry is dealing with things like licensing and artificial intelligence and
we did have a
what,
reply there, which was
yeah,
great.
and we did a reply, and also what's copyrightable. There's an entire report on what should be copyrightable, where are the lines between something that's just created with two prompts or something that where AI is used as a tool and the end product should be copyrightable because the value of content is it to end up to be copyrightable. So if nothing you're creating using AI has any potential to be owned by your client, that's something to consider as well. So we've been in a lot of talks about that, and prior to that, we were very active in coming up with a copyright and supporting with other associations a copyright small claims. Um, um, During that period, we had weekly calls with the sort of the content community, the photography groups that represent and illustration groups that represent the individual photographers in working with the Copyright Office on that. Another amazing partnership we have is with the Copyright Alliance. They are the advocacy group in DC that is there to present the point of view of the content industry, whether it's the motion picture industry, whether it's the licensing of visual content industry, whether it's software, whether it's illustration, photography, music, you name it. It's the the views of those members that are supported by the Copyright Alliance are supported by them. And it's so great to have someone with boots on the ground in DC that can go and talk to representatives and keep an eye on everything that's going in and out of Washington. I get a weekly alerts from them. They also have a lot of meetings and information. On behalf of DMLA, I have been on their AI working group and also reviewing other things such as the Digital Replica Act and right now currently what the cost of copyright registration should be because the Copyright Office wants to raise the amount of a filing fee by an enormous percent. And so
43%.
43%, yes. So
We stay busy.
right. So these are just sort of a snippet of some of the things we talk about all the time. And it's as well as, if you're new and starting and you're in the licensing business, we have set up some model forms and terms and conditions, keeping things like privacy policies up to date, and just trying to share information that'll be helpful. So when you come in, you can have sort of a baseline of what is typical for the industry and really have a head start. And we're here to answer questions when you have them as well. We put on webinars about topics, when you need model releases, when you need permissions for real property,
We did a whole
personal property,
series on people,
trademark,
places,
the
and
whole
things.
people, places, and things. All of these are online and you can find them. And I believe in a week or two, we're doing sort of an open, ask the lawyer panel where we can talk about a lot of issues that are coming up and hopefully answer your questions. So I've probably only scratched the surface, but that's and we're keeping an eye on all the cases too, of course, that are going on in the AI world.
So it is a good time to plug. It's exactly a week on June 17th.
Okay.
And we will be sending out another email to everyone to register. It's a legal town hall.
Get your questions.
And I should also say our legal committee is made up of a variety of member companies from Alamy and Shutterstock and Stocksy and I know I'm forgetting.
Getty Images,
yep.
Shutterstock.
So it's really a powerhouse group, I have to say. All right,
and if anyone has a company and a member where you have in-house lawyers who you think benefit from this, please let us know.
Great. Thanks, Margaret. Thanks, Nancy. All right. So education. And our purpose, it's funny because sometimes people are like, why are we doing education programs? Because we all need to learn from each other and from what's going on in the industry. So we bring in, I mean, we've had people from Meta, we've had people from CNN, we've had people, I know I'm forgetting, Mark could probably, yes, Stronger Together, I see Margaret put in. It's absolutely true. And you may not always agree with the person on the other side of the table or on the panel, but the insight into what people that may disagree with you are thinking can be incredibly valuable. Sarah, would you like to hop in and talk a little bit as our new education chair? It was a little unfair to say, welcome to your new position and now tell us what we're going to do, but
Of course. Well, thank you, Leslie. As DMLA's education chair, I'm definitely excited to talk about one of our main strategic pillars, which is, of course, education. So our main goal here is really straightforward. We're providing practical knowledge, really relevant insights and leadership perspectives that members can immediately apply within their organizations. So over the past year, we've expanded our educational programming to better serve our members, which I can't really take credit for since I just stepped into this role. But we're really looking to help our members stay ahead of changes that are impacting our industry. So, one of the ways we've done that is by increasing the number of webinars that we've been offering. We've also been creating more opportunities for members to learn from experts and engage in discussions around topics that matter most to your businesses. So, of course, always want feedback on things like that. And we've also continued initiatives like Newsbreak and Copyright Corner to share timely information on developments related to copyright, AI, technology, and just the broader spectrum of the digital media ecosystem. Um, we're also really placing a greater emphasis on leadership focused content. That's a huge part of the rebrand that we've all been participating in. So, the challenges facing our industry today aren't just technical or legal, they're really on the strategic level. So, our members are looking for insights that help them make informed decisions, be able to navigate change, and lead your organizations through a rapidly evolving landscape. So, just to look ahead, we're really excited about several upcoming initiatives, and Leslie is going to share a little bit more in the rest of the webinar on these. But I'm super excited to share that this September we'll be hosting a Leadership and AI Summit that's going to bring together senior industry leaders to discuss the future of AI, content, copyright, search, and ultimately business transformation. And we're also reimagining our annual IDMLC conference for 2027 with a stronger focus on leadership, collaboration, and business development opportunities, which I also can't wait to hear Leslie talk more about. And then, in addition, we're exploring regional leadership events that would combine focused educational programming with high value networking experiences. So, all really good, really exciting things ahead. So, as education chair, one of my priorities is ensuring that our programming remains practical, relevant, and of course, member driven. So, we really want to provide resources, conversations, and experiences that are going to help our members solve real challenges and identify new opportunities within their businesses. So, if there's any ideas that you have, of course, please put them in the chat, send us an email. We're always happy to hear them. Because at the end of the day, education is all about helping our members stay informed, stay connected, and prepared for what's next. So, speaking of staying connected, that leads directly into our next slide, I believe, which is the connectivity.
yeah. So I have to say I'm also very excited about the education, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But I think that we need to remember for people who are looking for those business development and networking opportunities, education is part of that. That's where we, identify topics we may not have thought about, and you start talking about them in and out. So I think all of this kind of relates to, as Sarah said, making sure that we're providing value back to our members and them to their businesses. All right, so connecting leaders from across the ecosystem, I'll go very quickly, but we are looking at networking events, working groups, and committees, which are becoming a very powerful part of DMLA. The member directory is something that we haven't really paid much attention to, and we're really going to encourage our members to have their employees sign up for the directory. It's a great tool behind the firewall, so your information's not public, but it allows one member to, in a trusted environment, to be able to call up and say, hey, I'm also a member of DMLA and saw you on the directory and, want to chat about something. And that can be very powerful. Member showcases. We did these a lot for a while and kind of stopped, but I think we're starting spotlights. In fact, Alex is going to be our first member spotlight. If it hasn't already gone out, it's going out soon. And member showcases where our members have an opportunity to introduce their companies to the membership. And so we're hoping to reignite those. I'm a big believer in peer learning and connection. So that's a big part of this. Strategic partnerships are something we've started to ramp up, and we want to we have an amazing list of affiliated organizations if you go to our footer, and yet a lot of these relationships haven't been nurtured and built, and we really want to do that. But we also have at the high level partnerships that are very important to DMLA, and Google is one of them. Google is one of our strongest partners, and people might wonder, why in the world are you partners with Google? But it's that we've got to be part of the conversation. And I want to give one example. We had a listening session. They are partners with us, not for they don't need to be mentioned as a partner. What they want is to listen and understand what the issues are for the community. So they approached us, and this was, I think, the second or third listening session that we've had on things that they're trying to figure out from a content perspective, and try and understand what the issues are and what as an industry we would want to see. So that's an example of a benefit there. Industry relationships today include, I mentioned IPTC before, Visual First, Henry Stewart, CAI, Google, and as I said, there's an amazing group of affiliated organizations that we're hoping to ignite. So next up, Mark, and Mark, I just realized I've been saying your name wrong for 10 years. Milstein. I was always saying Milstein. So
Worry
Mark,
about it. I will answer gladly to anything.
there you go. Over to you, Technology Committee.
Gee, where do I start? Technology. Gosh, every day I wake up and I think to myself, whatever I knew yesterday has been completely, dashed to the rocks, and I'm forced to renew my knowledge of every single thing. That's how quickly technology has changed. As many of the board members mentioned, they've been involved in this space since the mid 90s or even the late 90s, the turn of the century. And at that time, things seemed to move quite slowly. The digital era rolled out over a period of years. And prior to that, other types of licensing, what do you call it? Licensing formats rolled out over years. Artificial intelligence, AI, text image synthesis, video, everything that we've come to sort of learn and love, and it is now so ubiquitous in our lives that it almost feels like oxygen. I mean, we don't even notice it anymore. Happens to change literally every morning, as I've indicated at the beginning of my talk. And so this committee, the Technology Committee, and the AI Summit, which has been a core tenet of the DMLA conference for the past 3 years, is, I think, I think I would call it the tip of the spear, perhaps, because any of our members, or I should say all of our members, look to technology to advance their strategies, to better understand their day-to-day tactics, what they have to do, to understand, gosh, what are the other guys doing as well? Because technology gives anybody, competitor and partner alike, an unbelievable amount of power and the ability to shift gears rather quickly and perhaps even generate revenue at an accelerated rate. And so I'm hoping that with the name change and our rebranding, that will now ramp up our technology committee meetings. Certainly, the AI Summit will be front and center this upcoming year, a number of times, actually. I don't want to say that it is just a dormant 364 days a year and then only active 1 day a year type of thing. I'm hoping that all of the participants who've come to us or have joined us over the last couple of years will now become members. This is their time. We are now the organization that they were looking for. They took it upon themselves to join us at the conferences. That showed interest. And I think that, you know, the 1 day event proved to be perhaps some of the most dynamic talks that I saw over any of the conferences. And so, looking forward to seeing that those members or those participants become members. The slide mentions SEO and AI search work group. That's an element of technology. Search transformation. I can't say enough about how important that is. I think that's already been gone over. AI-driven discovery. Who knows what tomorrow is going to bring? My gosh, and attribution, metadata visibility, and the importance of metadata. I think about something that Ralph Windsor, the founder of Damn News, once said to me, and I've got it here on the wall, where he said, instead of being the tool to research a repository of content, metadata is the tool to generate it and effectively the DNA code of the asset itself. It's perhaps one of the most powerful statements I've ever heard in my life, merging both traditional metadata and the technology that now defines us as an industry and will continue to be partner with us. Not that we are, they are not, it is not a destructive force. And I don't think any of us view AI as a destructive force, but as an instructive and an empowering force. And so I would hope that anybody who has any interest in technology and hopes to continue this conversation in the way that I've just described and actually has something they want to offer up would come and join us. And then lastly, our industry connections. Leslie mentioned Google, OpenAI, others, Meta, Microsoft, who have participated in the AI Summit as well as our conferences, will be participants in the technology committees of various meetings, both in person and virtual. And so I'm looking forward to seeing all of you there. And please reach out if you have any questions or just want to rant, because AI is all about, if there's anything that AI does, is it certainly does rile up the rant in all of us. And so let me be your dartboard.
Well, and Mark, to that extent, you know, the SEO, the working groups in particular, and the SEO and search working group has opened up the opportunity for discussions back. So I would encourage any members on the phone that if you have the SEO committee is led by Roxana Stingo of Alamy, who heads up SEO for them. It's a fabulous group, working group. And if anyone has employees that they want to participate in either the AI and copyright working group or the SEO and AI search group, reach out to me and we'll connect you, because it's been, I think, very valuable for the companies that are participating. And as you can see here, and Mark, I know you weren't able to make yesterday's call, but we have planned discussions with Google first and then OpenAI specifically on the search and discoverability and retrievals versus training and, you know, all of these issues, which I think will provide a lot of value back. All right. Anything else? I'm looking to see. Oh, I do need to say that Margaret left, and I suspect Nancy's going to leave soon to join the legal committee. There she went, because unfortunately business has to continue, and the DMLA legal committee has their meeting at this time right now. So apologies that they had to leave early. All right. So next up. Why AI remains a priority. We've talked about this, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time. But as I said at the beginning, I think this, you know, transformative is an often used and overused word. And I don't think that's the case here. This is transformative to every business every business, not just in our industry, and I think in particular to our industry. So we're trying to bring together content companies, creators, et cetera, and address the key topics. And it's going to remain a priority for a period of time. Okay, let's see. All right, very quickly. So it's interesting because Alex, I want to mention this. He sent a message in the chat. It would be great if we could set up a joint call between DMLA's AI and Copyright Working Group and INA's Copyright Committee. And I think that's an excellent idea. I mean, one of the things we will also do is try and connect, members together or committees of ours with members. So Alex, you and I will talk about that as after this. Very quickly, the September Leadership Summit. I'm going to announce some few things that haven't been announced yet, but I think we're really excited about this. The September Leadership and AI Summit will be September 30th in New York City. If all goes well, it will be at the Harvard Club, which is a very cool, historical, beautiful facility and building. We have a sponsor, so they're letting us come in. So people say, why should I attend? Well, I think there's a lot of reasons, but the main reason is to connect with senior leaders that are shaping the future of the many different things that we're talking about in this industry right now. It's really about interaction. And as I said, there's interaction in the education, there's networking opportunities in the advocacy and alliance, if you will, and the same, from the connection standpoint. So the idea, and these are only being discussed. We're just now starting the detailed planning. But the future of AI and content, search, discoverability and attribution, copyright and AI, trust and provenance, standards and best practices. These are some of the topics that we are going to be exploring, and we're going to be building the agenda over the next few weeks. The participants will be senior industry leaders, platform participation. We want to encourage open dialogue and actionable outcomes. So looking ahead, DMLA's priorities, again, they haven't changed as much as they've expanded. The leadership positioning, we really want to continue being what we think is the trusted forum for industry dialogue. We're expanding membership. I cannot tell you how many conversations between Deshawn and I that we have going on with companies. And there was someone expressed interest on this call that we'll reach out to and follow up. Membership is the key because this is a member-driven organization and it's all about the companies that participate. And we know it takes some time, but there's a lot of different ways to participate and still get the value, even if you don't have a lot of time right now. Advocacy expansion, strengthening our core on copyright and AI, that's the priority right now. Education, increasing practical resources and thought leadership, and sponsorship and partnerships. Sponsors are key. And we're going to be going out with a couple of sponsorship opportunities to members and to the community. We have great sponsors, but we need to grow that to be able to continue to keep the cost down of being members of DMLA and the cost down of events. So that is also a priority for the next year. All right, so DMLA, we're almost done, I promise. DMLA at 75, as I said, we're honoring our legacy, but we're trying to look to the future. And for 75 years, this organization has survived and adapted alongside the evolution of visual content and technology. And today we're trying to prepare for that. So we're looking at the future of content, AI and its impact, copyright in the age of AI, discoverability, search, retrieval, and training. There's been a big discussion lately about if you refuse training, are you out of the retrieval, and lots of interesting issues around that. But the idea really is this line down below, and that's preserving economic value for creators and content businesses, because that's the end game, right? I mean, we've got to help preserve the value for the creators and the content businesses. And by the way, AI needs us to do that too, but that's another discussion. So how can you get involved? It starts with membership. This isn't a pitch about joining, but I have to put in one slide. It starts with membership. If you're a member of the organization, you can join a committee, you can participate in a working group, you can attend the AI Summit, you can refer a prospective member, become a sponsor or partner, and share your expertise. We love people who want to share their input and expertise. It makes the webinars and the events extremely valuable. So we are a little past our intended time, although we always plan a little extra, but we do want your input. If not today, we encourage you to write out. You can email me at leslie@dmla.org, or you can email admin@dmla.org. But we're really trying to explore what are the most important issues facing the industry today beyond the obvious ones. We know about AI and copyright, but let us know, what are your companies facing? Which subjects are most valuable to your organization's business? What type of networking do you want for business development and peer-to-peer learning? How can DMLA better support the industry? And what AI, copyright, metadata, or discovery challenges in particular are you facing? So DMLA's future is member-driven. Whether you've been a member for decades, recently joined, or considering membership or reconnecting with DMLA after time away, we would welcome your participation. Now, I'm going to quickly look at the comments. So I don't see any questions, but does anybody have any questions that they'd like to raise for the board? All right, well, you know how to reach us. We appreciate you taking the time. We've lost a few people, but we really do appreciate the panelists for taking their time to come talk about DMLA and why it's important to them, and we appreciate the attendees. We will send a link out to all DMLA members and to our attendees. And anyone have any final comments?
I'll
Thanks,
say thank
Leslie.
you, Leslie. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie, and join DMLA and be part of this conversation.